So LEGO Minecraft is undoubtedly one of my favorite themes. It lets the charm and the creativity pulled directly from the game itself. However, I can't help but feel that I've become less and less invested with the recent wave of sets. So that has led me to the question, has LEGO Minecraft gone downhill? Now that's a bold claim, so let me explain. Firstly, on the surface, Minecraft seems to have some of the most bland and simplistic graphics possible. And in theory, that would translate perfectly into the solid color blocks of LEGO. However, I think that LEGO took the quote-unquote simplicity a bit too far. You see, Minecraft sets are perfectly capable of being extremely detailed and texturized. There can be so many different levels and nuances in each different build that makes them even close to lifelike. But it seems that LEGO tries to restrict themselves to only the simplest bricks as much as possible. And for some reason, they seem to ignore the whole arsenal of pieces they have at their disposal. For example, let's look at this abandoned village set. Personally, the first thing I notice is the extreme lack of tiling. I feel like this is the least they could do, especially when the roof is supposed to represent completely smooth logs. And speaking of which, you literally cannot tell they're supposed to be logs. Right now, it looks like a pile of manure. With almost every other theme, LEGO is great with tiling things off and making things feel complete. But it seems like for Minecraft and Minecraft exclusively, they just can't put in the effort to just put on some tiles and make a log print. Which, by the way, already exists for other themes, so that this roof can actually look like, you know, logs. Additionally, to represent such complicated textures such as mossy cobblestone, maybe it would be better to use different studs and colors instead of just putting two symmetrical dark green plates and calling it a day. As a result, this whole building is just a box with bricks stacked over and over again with nothing interesting going on. And I think this focus on oversimplifying every single build is where the problem lies in. Because the thing is, when you're buying a LEGO product, you want a unique experience. You want the set to provide you with something that you can't get by just using the pieces at home. For example, for Star Wars sets, they reel you in with cool building techniques and exclusive molds and prints. But for Minecraft, you're just gonna get an orange blob or the 76th mineshaft. And it's so frustrating because these sets could easily become must-buys if they just included the necessary details to make it a more complete package. And some sets do that perfectly, but for many more of the times, it just falls short. Here, I think, is where the second problem comes in. Because if these sets do not provide the necessary details to be worth buying, then why do so many people still buy these sets? And why do I buy these sets? To answer this, let's look at the Nether Bastion set that I recently bought. When we look at the difference in quality between the minifigures and the build itself, I think we can start to see the issue. Because it looks to me like the whole budget went to creating these amazing figures. They have the perfect molds for their heads and weapons, and the printing and attention to detail is just spectacular. In addition, these mobs are flawlessly thought out, each incorporating unique features that make them come to life. 10 out of 10. However, when you look at the actual build, you'll see that it's just a huge faceplate with random bricks strewn around. There's no rhyme or rhythm to any of it, and somehow I was still willing to buy the set because of the amazing figures. It has become clear that the only unique things that some of these sets can provide are the cool figures and prints, and therefore becoming the main and only driving factor of buying these sets. And LEGO definitely knows this, and it seems like they are putting particularly desirable figures or mobs into sets that are completely overpriced. I mean, I'm not paying $40 just to get half a pumpkin and the witch, when I can spend the same amount of money on the Star Wars Republic fighter tank for 4 more figures, or 3 if you count the frog, and get an actual substantial build. Another example would be the Guardian Battle set. Even though the Guardians themselves were already big enough builds to hold their own in a set, LEGO just had to go and add this useless monument side build so that they can increase the price. Finally, I think this is where we're brought to the third problem, the selection of sets. You might have noticed that we've been getting a lot more animal-based sets. A set that's based around a llama, a pig, or even the Ender Dragon to a certain extent. And although these sets are fine, it makes them forgettable after a while when so many of them are coming out. With such a large focus on these sort of sets, I think it's taking away from what's truly important to Minecraft the game, the naturally generated structures. I think these are the most crucial sets that LEGO should be focusing on, because all these other builds anyone can make at any time, but generated structures are integral to the game itself. These are the sets that will always be relevant to the game, which means that they will always be important to any LEGO Minecraft collector. And back in the first few years of the theme, from 2014 to 2017, this seemed to be the prevailing idea. We got everything from the end islands, nether fortresses, and dungeons, to strongholds, ocean monuments, and villages. But fast forward to today, we basically don't see any of that at all. The only representations of these structures are in tiny sections, with the ocean monument, the bastion, and the deep dark ancient cities. And while this is going on, so many different generated structures have still not been made or remade. Desert temples, end cities, and so many more. I think the problem with why these sets were not feasible to make in the later years was that LEGO wanted to have much more compact and smaller sets, and these structures would be too big to be made feasibly. Which probably explains why we only got tiny remnants of what could have been amazing structures. But let me present my idea as to how I think these could work. Instead of releasing the 200th cave set again, we have a subcategory of sets that's similar to the Harry Potter line. Basically, in every wave of sets, we get one village building or a few rooms of a woodland mansion, so that casual fans can have their own tiny village, while the more hardcore fans are able to buy all of the sets and make a huge mansion, for example. In this way, we are able to get structures that are otherwise too hard or too expensive to make, and we can have a consistent source of nether and overworld sets for many waves to come. In fact, this concept was almost done already with the nether fortress. In 2015, we got the nether fortress set, in 2016, we got the wither set, and in 2019, we got the blaze bridge set. If these sets were released in, say, a 2-year span, and they were made so that they're compatible with each other, then we could have gotten a really cool, huge nether fortress. Something that I would think is much more meaningful and representative of Minecraft than just a giant llama statue. And with that, thank you for watching.